On February 15, 2000, a relatively unknown figure to the global stage, Vladimir Putin, registered as an official candidate for the presidency of the Russian Federation. At the time, Putin was serving as the acting president, following the unexpected resignation of Boris Yeltsin on December 31, 1999. Vladimir Putin's journey to the presidency was swift and calculated. With a background in the KGB and a reputation for being tough and efficient, he quickly climbed the ranks within the Russian political landscape. By August 1999, Yeltsin had appointed Putin as prime minister, a move that would set the stage for his eventual succession to the presidency. The photograph captures a pivotal moment in Russian history. Putin's registration as a presidential candidate signaled the beginning of a new era for Russia. The man who had been handpicked by Yeltsin was now poised to become the leader of a nation facing immense challenges, both internally and externally. The 2000 presidential election was a defining moment for Russia. Putin ran on a platform of restoring order, rebuilding the economy, and reasserting Russia's influence on the global stage. His message resonated with many Russians who were yearning for stability after a decade of chaos. On March 26, 2000, Vladimir Putin won the presidential election with a decisive majority. His victory marked the beginning of a new chapter in Russian politics. Over the next 2 decades, Putin would reshape Russia's political landscape, centralize power, and assert Russia's presence on the global stage in ways that continue to be felt today. Looking back, the significance of that February day in 2000 cannot be overstated. The moment captured in this photograph represents not just the start of Putin's presidency, but the beginning of a new era in Russian history, one that has defined the country's direction for over 2 decades. As we reflect on this moment in history, we are reminded of how a single decision, a single day, can shape the future of a nation. In this powerful photograph from 1947, we see a young Princess Elizabeth, the future Queen of the United Kingdom, participating in one of her early royal duties. It's a moment frozen in time, capturing the poise and determination of a 21-year-old woman who would go on to become one of the most enduring and beloved monarchs in British history. The year was 1947. The world was still recovering from the devastation of World War II. Britain, like much of Europe, was dealing with the challenges of reconstruction and the lingering effects of the war. During this time, the royal family played a crucial role in maintaining national morale and symbolizing hope for a brighter future. Princess Elizabeth was not just a figurehead. She was actively involved in the war effort. In 1945, she joined the Auxiliary Territorial Service, training as a driver and mechanic. It was an unprecedented move for a female royal, but it demonstrated her commitment to serving her country. This experience shaped her understanding of duty and service, values she would carry with her throughout her reign. In this particular photograph, taken during a military ceremony, Princess Elizabeth's demeanor reflects both the seriousness of the occasion and the weight of the responsibilities she was beginning to shoulder. Her gaze is focused, her posture is upright, and her expression is one of quiet resolve. The soldiers, standing at attention, represent the bravery and sacrifice of the British Armed Forces, and their presence underscores the gravity of the moment. 1947 was a monumental year for Princess Elizabeth. It was the year she married Lieutenant Philip Mountbatten, a union that would last over 7 decades. The wedding was a moment of joy and celebration for a nation still emerging from the shadows of war. But it was also a year that marked the beginning of her deeper involvement in the duties of the crown, as she began to take on more public responsibilities in preparation for her future role as queen. The lessons Princess Elizabeth learned in those early years about duty, service, and leadership were lessons she carried with her into her reign as Queen Elizabeth II. Her experiences during the war and in the years immediately following it helped shape her into the steadfast and dedicated monarch the world would come to admire. This photograph is more than just a snapshot in time. It's a symbol of a young woman on the cusp of greatness. A woman who would become one of the most significant figures of the 20th and 21st centuries. It reminds us that even in the most challenging times, there is strength to be found in duty, and hope to be found in the future. In the world of professional boxing, few moments have shocked the world as much as the events of June 28, 1997. On that night, Mike Tyson, one of the most feared and revered boxers in history, stepped into the ring for a highly anticipated rematch against Evander Holyfield. What happened next would become one of the most infamous incidents in sports history. The rivalry between Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield was fierce. Their first fight in 1996 had ended in controversy, with Holyfield winning by TKO after dominating Tyson. The rematch was billed as the Sound and the Fury, and fans expected Tyson to come back with a vengeance. But on that night, the Fury took a dark turn. In the third round, Tyson did the unthinkable. He bit off a piece of Holyfield's ear. The arena erupted in chaos as blood poured from Holyfield's ear, and the fight was halted. Fans were in disbelief, and Tyson was immediately disqualified. After the fight was stopped, the situation escalated quickly. Tyson, enraged and frustrated, had to be restrained by security and law enforcement. The photograph you see here captures the exact moment when Tyson, still full of adrenaline and anger, was confronted by the police. You can see the fear and uncertainty in the officers' faces as they attempt to control a man who, just moments earlier, had been fighting in the ring. Tyson's actions that night led to widespread public outrage. He was fined $3 million and had his boxing license temporarily revoked. In interviews following the fight, Tyson expressed regret but also tried to justify his actions, saying that he had been provoked by Holyfield's headbutts. Despite his explanations, the incident forever tarnished Tyson's legacy. Mike Tyson's career would never be the same after that night. The bite fight, as it came to be known, overshadowed much of his earlier achievements in the ring. It remains one of the most controversial moments in sports history, a reminder of how quickly things can spiral out of control in the heat of competition. This photograph is more than just an image of a moment in time. It's a snapshot of a man at his breaking point, and of a sport that was left reeling in the aftermath. It serves as a powerful reminder of the fine line between competitive spirit and uncontrolled aggression. As we look back on this event over 2 decades later, it remains a defining moment in sports history. In the world of high-end jewelry, one name has echoed through the halls of luxury for over 6 decades, Doris Payne. But unlike most, her fame doesn't come from wealth or status, but from a life of crime that has captivated the public and defied the authorities. Doris Payne was born in 1930 in West Virginia, a place far removed from the glamorous world she would eventually infiltrate. From a young age, Doris had a fascination with the finer things in life, a fascination that would lead her down a path of crime. It all started with a simple trick: charm and distract the salesperson, then walk out with the loot. Over the course of 60 years, Doris Payne perfected her craft. She targeted only the most exclusive jewelry stores, playing the role of a wealthy socialite or the wife of a millionaire. Her methods were as sophisticated as they were simple, a blend of confidence, elegance, and quick thinking, and it worked. Time after time, she slipped away with diamonds and jewels, leaving police in the United States, Europe, and Asia baffled. Despite her repeated arrests, Doris Payne was a chameleon. She could change her appearance, her accent, and even her personality to suit the situation. To some, she was an enigma, a woman who lived life on her own terms, unafraid of the consequences. What's fascinating is that many people don't view Doris Payne as a true criminal. She never used violence, never robbed the poor, and never took a life. Her targets were always the wealthy, the elite, those who could afford to lose a few diamonds. This Robin Hood-like image, combined with her undeniable charm, has earned her a certain level of public admiration. In fact, her life was so compelling that it inspired a documentary film, which only added to her legend. Even as she reached her 80s, Doris Payne couldn't resist the thrill of the heist. In 2013, at the age of 83, she was arrested once again, a testament to her lifelong commitment to her craft. Yet, even in her final arrest, she maintained the same composure, the same confidence that had carried her through decades of cat-and-mouse games with the law. Doris Payne's story is one of resilience, audacity, and a refusal to conform to the expectations placed upon her. Whether you see her as a criminal or a folk hero, one thing is certain: she lived life by her own rules. And in a world of conformity, that makes her a truly unforgettable figure. In the early 1970s, a photograph like this might have seemed impossible: a man relaxing in an armchair, his child playing on a deserted highway. But this was the reality for many in the Netherlands during the 1973 oil crisis, a moment in history that brought the world to a standstill. The 1973 oil crisis was triggered by an embargo imposed by the Organization of Arab Petroleum Exporting Countries in response to the West's support of Israel during the Yom Kippur War. The sudden cut in oil supply caused prices to skyrocket, leading to fuel shortages and economic chaos in many parts of the world. In the Netherlands, the impact was profound. The government implemented car-free Sundays, where the use of motor vehicles was banned except for emergencies. These Sundays became a symbol of the crisis, with highways and streets eerily empty, a stark contrast to the usual hustle and bustle of modern life. This photograph perfectly captures the surreal atmosphere of that time. With cars sidelined by the fuel shortage, highways turned into playgrounds and living rooms. The man, reading his newspaper as if in his living room, and the child, innocently playing, reflect the adaptability of the human spirit in the face of crisis. The 1973 oil crisis didn't just change daily life. It had a lasting impact on culture and policy. In the Netherlands, it accelerated the adoption of alternative modes of transportation, like cycling, which remains a cornerstone of Dutch culture to this day. The crisis also spurred conversations about energy independence and the environmental costs of oil dependency, conversations that continue to shape global policy. This image is more than just a snapshot of a moment in time. It's a powerful reminder of how quickly life can change and how society can adapt to new realities. The 1973 oil crisis forced the world to rethink its relationship with energy, and its lessons are still relevant as we face new challenges in the 21st century. As we move forward, it's essential to remember the lessons of the past, how resilience, adaptability, and innovation can help us navigate even the most challenging times. Subscribe to our channel for more stories.